Before kings ruled and prophets spoke, one man walked with eternity. His name echoed through time. Melchizedek the priest, who had no lineage, no birth, no death. He appeared in silence and vanished in light. His presence made the stars pause and angels bow without command. When Abraham met him, the earth itself hushed, for heaven had come disguised as flesh. He carried no temple, no altar, only bread, wine, and fire. I serve the Most High, he said, but I am not his messenger. I am his mirror. Even the mountains trembled at those words. History tried to trace his origin, but found only mystery. First scrolls called him eternal, the later ones inconvenient, and so began the effort to erase him from memory. But eternity cannot be buried, only forgotten for a while. Melchizedek's blessing was older than the covenant itself. He raised his hands over Abraham, and the sky split with silent thunder. Blessed be the one who still remembers, he said, for faith is older than law. The wind carried those words beyond time. Abraham offered him tithes, but Melchizedek smiled. Gold cannot feed heaven. His voice resonated like scripture not yet written. In that moment, heaven recognized a priest not chosen by lineage, but by essence. Angels marked the place where they met, though mankind would later build temples elsewhere. And while priests of men wore robes, this one wore light. His eyes reflected eternity's first dawn. The blessing did not end. It became a pulse in creation itself, and it still beats in the hearts of those who seek truth without titles. Every truth erased leaves an echo. Deep beneath ancient Jerusalem, once called Salem, fragments of stone whisper his name. Scrolls too dangerous for the church, too divine for kings, spoke of a priest who anointed himself with fire. The Book of Melchizedek told of laws written in stars, not stone. The word, it said, is not written by hand, but by consciousness. Those who found it vanished or were branded heretics. One scroll described him standing before God, unafraid, as if speaking to an equal. The priests of later ages sealed the chamber, praying none would find it again. But time is not loyal to secrecy, and the earth keeps pushing forgotten truths back to the surface. Heaven's fire burns without consuming, only transforming. Melchizedek taught that sacrifice was not about death, but about release. The blood you spill outside, he said, was meant to be spilled within in surrender, not slaughter. His altar was the heart, his offering, awareness. Angels wrote his words in invisible flame, but man preferred smoke to silence, ritual to realization. And so, his teachings were buried under commandments, yet every true prophet afterward carried a spark of his fire. Even Moses on Sinai saw that same eternal light. The covenant of blood would end, the covenant of fire would remain. For in that fire all divisions melt, priest and sinner become the same. He was the priest who needed no temple, for he was one. His breath sanctified the air, his shadow blessed the ground. Wherever he stood became sacred. You build walls, he said, but truth was never meant to be contained. His followers gathered not to worship, but to remember. They called him Adonai's breath, the echo before scripture. When questioned who made him priest, he replied, the beginning itself. His name meant King of Righteousness, but he ruled no throne, commanded no army. His power was obedience to none but truth. He told them heaven's kingdom lies not above, but within. And those words still ring through eternity's corridors, ignored by the pious, embraced by the awake. When Melchizedek met Abraham, two eternities looked into each other's eyes. One carried promise, the other carried fulfillment. The exchange was not of wealth, but of awareness. You will father nations, Melchizedek said, but I will father the spirit that guides them. The sky turned crimson, as if creation itself acknowledged their meeting. Abraham bowed, not in worship, but in recognition. He saw a reflection of God's thought made flesh. That moment was so pure that even heaven wrote it twice, once in light, once in memory, and though the world remembers Abraham's covenant, it forgets who blessed it first. The priest of eternity stood silent as history passed him by. But silence, like God, never dies. It waits. He carried both dawn and dusk within his robe. Melchizedek knew that to serve the divine, one must understand both mercy and mystery. Light without shadow blinds, he said, and shadow without light consumes. His gospel was balance, not belief. He walked the edge between heaven and earth, unafraid of either. Demons bowed to him not in fear but in recognition, for even darkness remembers its source. His name became a code among mystics, a symbol for those who walked unseen paths. In temples they spoke of him in whispers, calling him the priest of what lies between. And between all things, truth found its home. Every priest after him was only a shadow of his truth. Yet some claimed descent, not by blood, but by awakening. The Essenes called themselves sons of Melchizedek, guardians of the inner law. In hidden caves they copied his teachings on skins of light. When the final prophet comes, one scroll said, he will wear this name again, and so centuries later a carpenter from Nazareth was called high priest in the order of Melchizedek. The same fire flowed through him unseen, unending. The forbidden lineage lived on, beneath robes, beneath fear, beneath the illusion of authority. For heaven's priesthood cannot be inherited, only remembered. The book of Melchizedek did not vanish, it hid itself in elements. Some say it was written in stars that only angels can read. Others claim it rests in a realm of light beyond language. Those who dream deeply enough glimpse fragments, words that hum instead of speak. It reveals not commandments but directions toward divine consciousness. To know me, the book says, is to remember what you already are. Many sought it, none possessed it, for it cannot be held, only lived. And those who live it cease to need scripture at all. Eternity does not repeat, it reveals. When ages turn dark and faith turns cold, his presence rises again. Melchizedek does not return as a man, but as a movement, a rekindling of divine remembrance. The prophets of awakening speak his name in silence. His essence moves through those who seek unity beyond religion. Wherever two remember truth, he said, there I stand. And when they speak with love instead of fear, the priesthood of eternity awakens again. Heaven opens not above, but inside, and the eternal flame burns quietly behind human eyes. His followers never built temples, they built remembrance. Across centuries they met in secret, beneath the ruins of fading empires. They carried a single symbol, a circle split by fire. To them, Melchizedek was not a man but a pattern, the point where heaven touches the human. They guarded no scripture, no relic, only a vow to keep the world awake. Every age forgot them, every empire buried them, but they return whenever truth is silenced. Some say they walk among us still nameless, ageless, carrying the flame of divine neutrality. The priesthood of balance never dies, it only changes form. At the end of all covenants he still stands, unbent, unbound, unchanged. Melchizedek was not sent, he emerged. He was not chosen, he remembered. He remains the bridge between the Creator and creation, the silence that translates eternity into understanding. Every age needs a priest, the heavens say, but only one remembers without learning. His presence lingers in every act of true compassion, every truth spoken without reward. The forgotten book is not lost, it is written in every soul that still listens. And when mankind awakens again, it will find him not in temples, but in reflection. For Melchizedek was never gone, he simply waited for the world to be ready to remember him again. When time itself knelt, Melchizedek remained standing. The stars dimmed, the prophets slept, and yet his presence lingered quiet, patient, infinite. He spoke one final truth to the winds of creation: the beginning and the end are only the same breath inhaled twice. The mountains echoed it, and the seas carried it to the edges of the world. His light no longer shone from fire but from awareness, for he had become the stillness that birthed sound. Heaven looked upon him not as a servant, but as reflection. And God said, "You are not mine. You are me, remembering myself." The sky burned with silent glory as eternity folded into its own heartbeat. And there, between heaven's sigh and earth's awakening, the eternal priest vanished, not gone, but absorbed into the divine pulse of everything that ever was and ever will be.